Welcome into the ESPN FC studios for this Thursday edition of the show. Great to have you with us. Shaka Hislop, Stevie Nicol, Paul Mariner, Sebastian Salazar with you in studios. It is Thursday. That means Europa League.
Yeah.
Here's a look at the scores. Arsenal, 2-0 winners over Napoli. Don't be too excited, Paul. Easy to say. Chelsea get a late goal from Marcos Alonso. I think 86th minute to get the victory over Slavia Prague. Benfica, thanks to a Joao Felix hat-trick win 4-2 against Eintracht Frankfurt, who were reduced to 10 men pretty early. And then Valencia, a couple late goals as they take a 3-1 lead into their second leg against Villarreal. This was the match we were all focused on. Arsenal, 2-0 winners over Napoli. Aaron Ramsey with an early goal, 14th minute. And then about 10 minutes after that, Lucas Torreira with a shot, takes a deflection off Koulibaly, ruled as an own goal. The possession stats there tell us one story, but I don't really think they tell the story of the game. Perhaps the expected goals, maybe more accurate of what we saw on the pitch. Paul, I'll start with you, man. Arsenal were dominant, pretty much wire to wire, right?
The first half, particularly, they were absolutely fantastic. They played fast football. They were going through the lines. The passing was incredible. 1 and 2 touches. Napoli could not live with them. It was unfortunate they only could get the 2 goals because it's still slightly open, this game. But if they bring it, as they did tonight, they'll get through. It's quite remarkable with this, A, with the team selection, and B, with the different performance from the Everton game at the weekend compared to tonight. It's unrecognisable, this side. Why are they so up and down? Yeah. That's my concern. This game should be dead and buried. If it was 4 or 5, we'd still be saying that's about right. You know, Ramsey comes in, scores a fantastic goal, missed the sitter in the second half. But it was an encouraging performance. But having said that, I thought Napoli were extremely poor. You mentioned it during the match. How mad are you that Ramsey's not coming back? Well, we've been banging the drum on this programme for a long, long time. How he wasn't re-signed, 18 months ago, 2 years ago, it's quite remarkable. And they're going to have to spend big to try and replace this guy because at the present moment, this is a sign of the true professional that this guy is. Yes, he's going to Juventus, but he's still putting a shift in, and that's very, very important. He's an extremely, good top box-to-box player.
Sure, if you're the Arsenal board, you're looking around. How many players on this team are actually better than an Aaron Ramsey?
None. He's actually their main player in the middle of the park now, as far as getting forward and contributing, scoring goals. And connecting. So when that's walking out the door...
Yeah. For free, too. For free.
Is an absolute disaster. However, it's only 2-0. Yeah. And as great as Arsenal are at home, they're as bad away from home. And if I'm Napoli, I'm thanking my lucky stars we only lost by 2. But I also know that we can beat this team by 2 at least at home. So Napoli absolutely will be thanking the lucky stars, as I said, that they're still in this game.
Lacazette, Aubameyang, Ozil, all in the starting lineup. Unai Emery definitely went for it. Fair, Shaka?
Yeah, absolutely. And given how poor Arsenal have been away from home, I think they've got 2 wins in all competitions since the end of November, and against Huddersfield and Blackpool. You understand that if you are going to go through, you feel you have to get the job done and give yourself a good lead to defend here in the first leg. And I thought you saw that from Unai Emery in the team that he put out, a team that dominated Napoli and maybe should have had as poor as 4 or 5.
Is this a home lineup only, or do you think Emery can take this on the road, Shaka?
Well, and that's a challenge. And from an Arsenal perspective, as we've all been saying, Arsenal have been so inconsistent, so good at home and yet still so poor on the road. And there's no real logical explanation as to exactly why that is. Do I think he's going to go with 2 up front from the opening whistle against Napoli with a lead to defend, given how poor they've been? No, I don't think so. You've seen Unai Emery swapping between Lacazette and Aubameyang, either one starting, coming off the bench and changing things up as needed. I don't expect it to be as adventurous, certainly not to start, but certainly have everybody on the bench and available. Whether Ozil is a player used from the start, away from home as well, is another question Unai Emery has to answer. I'm not so sure he is.
There's a question we were asking when we were watching the game. The coach decided to take off Lacazette, Torreira and Ozil. Now, if you'd have left them on the field, we'll never know the answer to this question. If you would have left them on the field, because they were rolling, they were still playing very, very well. Could they have got that third goal? Could they have got that fourth goal with those players that were playing extremely? That unit was performing very, very well. And he changes it, and we know, we've been in that position. You change the rhythm of the team because the players, it takes them a little while to get up to speed. And Napoli did come in and have a couple of chances. So Unai Emery sometimes is going to let these guys go.
That tells you all you need to know, what their problem is away from home. You know, he's sat there thinking, you know what, 2-0, I'll take 2-0 to go away in Napoli. If he had been thinking, if we can get 3 and keep these players on the field, then you can maybe kill the tie. So, you know, he goes into defensive mode. Yeah. That puts his players in a defensive mode. They sit back, and they're not that great at the back, so they lose goals away from home. Every single thing you saw today when they were 2-0 up, him making the changes, tells you exactly where his head at and where the problem is.
On the other side of this thing, post-match, Ancelotti has come out and he said he's totally confident heading back to Naples.
Well, he's seen them away from home, hasn't he? Well, you would be.
But based on what we saw today, I mean, I would think it's very difficult for anybody associated with Napoli to be confident going back. They were played off the park.
Yeah, but
I don't know if Arsenal were that good or were Napoli that bad.
Look, the whole point of tonight was to put this game to bed. They had an opportunity at home to really kill this game off. 2-0, I don't care where you're going. At 2-0 in a European tie, this is not over. Because anything can happen on European nights. You don't know whether you get a bad call or the players just don't perform. But it's up to Unai Emery to get his tactics and his selection spot on, because everybody's going to be looking at it.
You guys are all saying Arsenal hasn't done enough. Do you actually think Napoli gets through?
As of right now, yeah, Arsenal are in the pole position. Listen, I sat in the studio yesterday. I made the point, which almost kind of stupidly stand by, that this is a very good Napoli side, despite what their recent results suggest. Comfortably in second place in Serie A. They're not going to catch Juventus. They're not going to be caught. So maybe, you know, you understand, and now Ancelotti has his eyes firmly focused on the Europa League. This performance was simply awful. And if I'm Ancelotti and seeing my side comfortably second in Serie A, I'm putting this down as a one-off, and I'm backing my team to come back from 2 down. You get an early goal against this Arsenal team with your crowd behind you. You all of a sudden up for it, and given ourselves frailties on the road, which we keep mentioning, and I think is a huge factor mentally for Arsenal and Unai Emery alike. This is by far, this is not done at all.
If I'm Ancelotti, I know that, number one, my team can't be as bad in the second leg. Yeah. And I know Arsenal can't be as good. Because in the first half, Arsenal were fantastic. I mean, the Ramsey goal is an incredible goal from a team standpoint. The passing, the movement, the accuracy, the finish, you name it. So Ancelotti's not stupid. He knows that Arsenal can't do that in Napoli. He also knows his team's going to be better.
Arsenal gets their win in the first leg, as does Chelsea, though Chelsea really had to work for this. It wasn't until the 86th minute. Willian sends a cross in. Marcos Alonso, somewhat unmarked on the back post, heads it home, and that's the difference for Chelsea as they pick up the victory on the road. I guess the big talking point here is really Maurizio Sarri's decisions in his starting 11. That's the 11. I'll just tell you who's on the bench. Hazard, Higuain, Kante, David Luiz. The one guy he still found a spot for in the starting 11 should be noted, Jorginho. Always there. Always there. This would seem to suggest, guys, and maybe I'm wrong, correct me, that Sarri is prioritizing now the top 4 chase over Europa League. Is that the right decision, if that's indeed the case? I
think what he's doing is hedging his bets, if I'm perfectly honest. I think...
That's a risk in itself, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but you know, football is a risk game. The simple fact of the matter is, when we've seen the recent Chelsea sides that he's selected in the Premier League, they've been on the front foot, they've been going forward. Hazard has been re-energised. He's trying to show these young kids what a brilliant player he is. I mean, just look what he did at the weekend. It was incredible what Hazard did. And that's the type of player that we know that he is. And it's up to Sarri to realise that when he puts these young kids out, Hudson-Odoi, who did he leave him home tonight? I believe he did.
Yes, he's giving him a rest.
And Loftus-Cheek, who, in my opinion, is a much better player than Barkley. I think he's hedging his bets. I think he's confident they can get through this tie. And I think he's fairly confident that he might be able to nick something at Liverpool, maybe a draw or something.
Slavia Prague was a great draw from them. The timing of of going into third place, having beaten West Ham. So now they're looking good for top 4. They get a good draw against a team in Slavia Prague who they should be able to beat, putting half a side out, which I think he has done. If he looks at what's going to come up against them at the weekend in Liverpool, 4 of those 6 that were at the top won't be playing. The front 3, definitely, that you saw today, will not play, and either Kovacic or Barkley will not play. So this is falling for him at the right time. He can put the side out he did, knows he's going to win the game, but also he's able to keep the likes of Hazard for this big game coming up with Liverpool.
I'm with Sarri in terms of his team selection. He's generally made changes in the Europa League, and that team has generally played a whole lot better than we've seen from his league outfit. So Hudson-Odoi, who I think has to play now and at least prove a counterbalance to Hazard on the right-hand side and give defences a whole lot more to think about. And with Paul, I think Loftus-Cheek needs to have a bigger role in this Chelsea lineup, and you get a tie that allows you to do that, allows you to make changes. You don't have to be at your best, given the run-in. Yes, you're in third, but you know that the chasing pack have a game in hand and can catch you. Is a lot that Chelsea, a lot of fronts that Chelsea continue to fight on, and the truth of the matter is, given this club, given what's the expectation, especially from the owner, you have to hedge your bets. You have to continue fighting on all fronts. I don't think you're in a position to prioritise, not given how itchy or Abramovich's trigger finger can be.
Chelsea then with an eye on the weekend, and Liverpool will have an eye on that Chelsea-Liverpool match as well on tomorrow's show. Stuart Robson joins us. Don't miss that one.
Robbo.